Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Biology Pro. So today our topic is breathing and exchange of gases. In this I'm going to make a few lectures. First lecture is lung volumes and lung capacities. Later on we'll be talking about the exchange and the transport of gases, like how oxygen and carbon dioxide are transported from respiratory surface to different tissues, and then we are going to talk about the breathing control, how the breathing movements are controlled. What is the mechanism involved in controlling the breathing movements? These are the topics that we are going to study, right? So before getting into the topic, so a small reminder that those who are new to my channel, please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so that you get notifications whenever I post a new lecture. Okay, so today's our lecture is about lung volumes and capacities. So the volumes are nothing but the measurable values, the values which we can measure. Those measurable values are called as volumes. By adding few volumes, we get capacities, right? So first we talk about what are lung volumes and then the capacities. So remember, volumes are those which are measurable values. That means you can measure. How these are measured? So mostly the lung volumes are measured by using spirometer, right? So spirometer is an instrument. By using spirometer, lung volumes are measured. Okay, fine. Now we'll talk about the lung volumes. First is tidal volume. To make it very clear and to understand, I just made a graph. This is y-axis. On the y-axis, this is the volume of air. That means in the lung, how much maximum volume of the air the lungs can accommodate. That is 6,000 milliliters. That is 6 liters, right? So this is your y-axis. On the graph, the y-axis represents the lung volumes. So down, this is for expiration and that is for inspiration. You just remember. On this x-axis, this is a time. Anytime, whatever the time that we take, minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever the time, generally in minutes, this is the time on the x-axis, right? So let us find out the first one, tidal volume, right? So look, what is this? Tidal volume is the volume of the air that is inspired or expired during a normal or quiet breathing. This is called your tidal volume, right? So what is tidal volume? Tidal volume is the volume of the air that is inspired or expired, right? So during a normal quiet breathing. So this is what you call tidal volume. This is called your inspiration and this is expiration. Volume of the air that is inspired and volume of the air that is expired under a normal quiet breathing is called as tidal volume, and tidal volume is approximately, right? So 500 milliliter, that is half a liter. So you can say that this is something 2000, this is 2500 to 3000, this is the difference is 500 ml, that is what is tidal volume. It's so called tidal volume, your inspiration and expiration, it is in the form of tide, right? So we call it as tidal volume. Next, there is some amount of the air is present in the lungs every time, which is not involved in any exchange, right? So this volume of the air, look, this volume of the air that is present in the lungs in the microscopic spaces of the alveoli of the lungs and which is not involved in any kind of exchange is called residual volume, right? So this is residual volume. Residual volume is 1200 milliliter. What is this? This is the volume of the air which is not involved in any kind of exchange. The question is, why is this volume present? Because this volume is to keep the alveoli of the lungs open. For that, this volume is present, which is 1200 ml, right? Now, as residual volume is trapped inside the alveoli of the lungs in the microscopic spaces which is not involved in exchange. This cannot be measured by using spirometer. Remember, by using spirometer, which volume cannot be measured? Residual volume cannot be measured. But how residual volume is calculated? By any means, if you can calculate the total lung capacity, 40% of the total might be your residual volume. Clear? But this is a volume which remain inside the lungs and cannot be measured by using spirometer. Fine. Next, the volume of the air that is inspired by forceful breathing, right? The volume of the air that is inspired by forceful breathing is called inspiratory. This is called inspiratory reserve volume. Look, this is your normal, breathing. There is not the normal volume of the air that is inspired, which is called your tidal volume. If you are inspiring more, this is something reserved. So it's called inspiratory reserve volume, and this inspiratory reserve volume is 2500 to 3000 milliliter is inspiratory reserve volume. Fine. So after the inspiratory reserve volume, all the volume of the air that is inspired is taken in. Right? Fine. So inspiratory reserve volume, and then this is normal expiration, forceful expiration. Volume of the air that is expired forcibly, that is called your expiratory reserve volume. This is called expiratory reserve volume. Right? So this is called expiratory reserve volume, and this expiratory reserve volume will be approximately 1000 to 1100 ml. This is called expiratory reserve volume. So we have done with these volumes. So first one is tidal volume, the volume of the air that is involved in normal breathing, inspiration and expiration, right? So this is for inspiration, this is for expiration, the normal breathing. This is called tidal volume. And the volume of the air that remains in the lungs, which is not involved in exchange, which is trapped inside the lungs, is called residual volume, which is 1200 milliliter. And the volume of the air that is inspired in forceful breathing is called as your inspiratory reserve volume, which is approximately 2500 to 3000 milliliters. And the volume of the air that is expired in forceful expiration is called as expiratory reserve volume. Okay, so these are the volumes can be measured by using spirometer, whereas residual volume cannot be measured by using spirometer, right? By adding few of these volumes, we get capacities, right? Now we talk about the lung capacities. Lung capacities. Total lung capacity. Look, the entire volume of the air that is accommodated in the lungs, the total volume of the air accommodated in the lungs is called total lung capacity. This is total lung capacity, right? What is it? There are different methods to calculate this. I'll just show you in some other way. This is total lung capacity is equal to, I'll start with this. This is residual volume plus, this is called expiratory reserve volume, plus this is tidal volume and inspiratory reserve volume. So the volume of the air that is accommodated in the lungs is called your total lung capacity. How much is this? 6000 milliliter is nothing but 6 liters, right? Now, your inspiratory capacity. Look, this is normal expiration. After normal expiration, this is inspiration, and forceful inspiration is called your inspiratory capacity. So your inspiratory capacity is the volume of the air that is taken in after of normal expiration is called your inspiratory capacity. That means it includes your tidal volume as well as inspiratory reserve volume. Inspiratory capacity is your tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume. Next, after your normal inspiration, right? So this is your normal expiration, that is tidal volume, plus expiratory reserve volume is your expiratory capacity, which is expiratory reserve volume plus tidal volume from here to here, right? This is called your expiratory capacity, and this is called your inspiratory capacity, right? So inspiratory capacity is your tidal volume plus your IRV. Expiratory capacity is your tidal volume plus your expiratory reserve volume. Fine. Now coming to the next one, functional residual capacity. Already we have discussed that. What all the volume of the air that is trapped in the microscopic space of the alveoli of the lungs, which is not involved in any kind of exchange, is residual volume, right? Now what is functional residual capacity? The functional residual capacity is, say look, this is normal inspiration, this is normal expiration, the tidal volume. After normal expiration, this is the volume of the air, and this remains in the lungs. So after normal expiration, the volume of the air that remains in lungs, this expiratory capacity will remain in the lungs as well as the residual volume after normal expiration. This is normal expiration. After normal expiration, the volume of the air that remains in the lungs is called your functional residual capacity, which is equal to ERV plus residual volume. So your functional residual capacity is equal to, right, expiratory reserve volume plus residual volume, right? So why is this functional? Among this residual volume, some amount of it, that is ERV, expiratory reserve volume, is functional. Some amount of it is functional, so it's called as functional residual capacity, right? Next, the last one, volume of the air that is involved in exchange, right? So the volume of the air which is involved in exchange, which is vital for our activities, is called vital capacity, and this vital capacity is equal to your, look, this is called your expiratory reserve volume plus tidal volume plus your IRV, right? So vital capacity is equal to ERV plus TV plus IRV. That means your total lung capacity is RV plus ERV plus TV plus IRV. So what is ERV plus TV plus IRV? Vital capacity. So total lung capacity will be residual volume plus your vital capacity. Residual volume plus vital capacity. That means here I'll just make it residual volume plus vital capacity will be your total lung capacity. That means by any means, if you know your total lung capacity, by any means if you can calculate total lung capacity and minus vital capacity will be your residual volume. You can calculate residual volume in that way, okay? Because by using spirometer we cannot calculate residual volume. Okay, so that's it. These are the lung volumes and lung capacities. Hope everybody understood. Our next topic will be the transport of gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide. How transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place.